Hi guys, welcome to the Passports and Visas channel. Today we're going to go ahead and discuss applying for your first new adult passport. Let's go ahead and get First, we need to determine if you're eligible to obtain a new U.S. passport as an adult. To be eligible for a U.S. passport, you need to be a U.S. citizen, which is obtained either by birth or by naturalization, which would require that you provide your birth certificate or naturalization certificate. You also need to be over the age of 16 at the time of applying. So now that we've determined that you're eligible to apply for a passport, let's go ahead and get started with the steps required. So there's 4 steps basically associated to obtaining a new passport. The first step is completing your DS-11, the passport application. The second is scheduling your appointment. The third is going ahead and gathering the supporting documentation associated that is needed for your appointment. And then the fourth item is actually going to your appointment itself. Okay, so to go ahead and complete the DS-11 form, let's cruise on over to the travel.state.gov website. Here on this page right here, travel.state.gov, if you go here, you'll come to a page that looks like this. And then what you'll want to do is click on U.S. passports. And here you'll scroll down to I need to apply for a passport. And in this case, we are going to be completing the form DS-11, which is the new passport application form. So go ahead and click here, fill out your form. Here you'll have 2 options. So one would be clicking this button right here. It goes ahead and prints out the PDF of the DS-11. You can hand fill it out and take that off to the passport acceptance facility, which would be a post office at your appointment time. We would highly recommend that you use the form filler service, and I'll go ahead and complete that for you and show you the different options that are available. So the form filler, the difference is this: you complete the information online, and at the end of it, it creates the PDF with everything all filled in for you. So it ensures that everything's accurate, nothing's missed, and so forth. It's just, in our opinion, it's a much easier way to handle this. So go ahead and click this, and then it takes you to this page right here, which is the U.S. passport application page. You're accepting some information, go ahead and submit, and then you get to this page here, and then you fill out the online and print. Here you have options of completing the DS-11, which is for new passports, which is the content of this video, or renewing passports or data corrections. So the form sort of intelligently figures out what you're trying to do based on your information, and at the end creates the appropriate form for you. So anyway, so let's go ahead and get started with this application. So you'll go ahead and complete the applicant information. I'll go ahead and complete this using dummy data. So I'll just put in test and middle name, and then last name is test. Please note on this form where there's red stars that indicate required. However, as far as the applicant goes, your information here needs to match up with either your prior passport or your birth certificate. So if you go by the name John, but your passport actually says Jonathan, you want to put in the first name Jonathan here. Same thing with middle name. If on your passport it has, or your birth certificate it has Lindsay as an example, you would write Lindsay. You wouldn't write the letter L or what have you. So just make sure that this information here matches up with the supporting documentation for your application. So the next thing you have is entering in your date of birth and city of birth. Keep filling in this information here. Your social security number is important. Make sure that that's correct. And then it asks you for pertinent information down here regarding your height and so forth. So we'll go ahead and pick some stuff here to fill this out and ask you for your occupation. At this point, this is basically most of the information regarding the applicant themselves. So then you click to go to the next step. Now you're at the point where you're entering in your address information. So by default, it asks you for where you would like to have the passport mailed to. So I'll go ahead and fill this in. And then it asks you down here if this is your permanent address or not. If it's not, if you're choosing to have this mailed to an office or some other location, you can go ahead and click no. And then at this point, it gives you a way to go ahead and complete your permanent address. For simplicity, I'm going to go ahead and just say yes and say that this is indeed our permanent address. Down here, we have the method of communication. So if there's some sort of issue with your passport application, the passport agency will reach out to you directly, either through mail, email. So we would strongly suggest that you put in your email address here as the preferred method of communication, and then go ahead and just put in your email address. And then down here, you can put in a phone number. Phone number is not required, but it certainly is a good idea to fill that in. The next page here is the travel plans. None of it has a red asterisk, so it's not required, but certainly if you have travel that's impending, probably not a bad idea to include that. So on this next page here, you're entering in emergency contact information for as you're traveling out internationally. If the passport agency needs to contact you, this would be the place to include that information. The next thing here is your most recent passport. As we're completing this as if we're a new applicant, we would go ahead and click none here, that I don't have a recent passport. If you go ahead and click one of these others, they'll take you through the process of applying to renew the passport that you have and see if you're eligible. But for the purposes of this video, we'll click none. So at this point, the next step is you're including information regarding your parental information. So we can go ahead and input information regarding, say, for instance, your father, and male, U.S. citizen. Put in information regarding a mother, and female, U.S. citizen. You have the option to put in a date of birth and place of birth. Again, it's not required. If the applicant's parental information is not known, you can click this here that says unknown. The next step here is spouse. Have you ever been married? If you have, it asks you for the information regarding the person being married. The next page here is looking for aliases. So if you have any aliases, it's a good idea to go ahead and include those here. Then the next step here, which is the next to last step, is to review the information that you have. We would highly recommend that you go ahead and complete everything on here and double check everything, even triple check it, because obviously if the information is provided incorrectly on your application, then that'll cause delays with your application. So double check all this information here. Make sure, obviously, this information is relating to the applicant is correct. Make sure the mailing address is correct. Make sure the contact information is correct, etc. So once you've confirmed that that's all good, the next page is talking about the fees themselves. So this page isn't doing anything other than just calculating and giving you a heads up on the fees. So a passport book costs $110. You have an option here to get an additional pages in the book. So the normal book is 28 pages. You can click here at a no-cost option to get a thicker book if you'd like. You also have an option here to get a passport card for an additional $30. Passport goods are not good for air travel, but they are good for land and sea travel to Mexico, Canada, and the Caribbean. So that's what the passport card is for. If you choose that, then you'll get both. And then regarding the processing speeds here, routine service is at no cost. Expedited processing is an additional $60. They gets it to you in a couple more weeks. There's also expedited shipping methods available. So if you choose standard, the passport book typically comes priority mail. If you choose the 1 to 2 day delivery, it comes priority mail express. And if you're choosing this, then it simply just changes the fees down here. So then at the bottom here, it basically tells you how to prepare for what you're going to be needing to pay. And so I'll link to a video that we have that goes into a lot more specifics on the cost of a passport if you'd like to look into this further. So at this point, the next thing is to simply print the DS-11 itself. So it's going to guide you through, here's what you need to do. Basically, you print out the form here. Do not sign it. you'll need to take it to, as it mentions here, take it to an acceptance facility, which would be making an appointment at a post office. And then go down here and click this box to say you acknowledge these steps, and click the button here to go ahead and create the form. And once this is done, the DS11 is created, and you are ready to go to your passport acceptance facility. The next step beyond this would be making the appointment at the passport acceptance facility by going to USPS.com and making yourself an appointment. But hopefully this helped guide you through the. Okay, so now that you have your DS11 form completed and ready to take to your appointment, the next step is actually making the appointment itself. So let's go ahead and jump on over to the Postal Service website, which is a place where you can make appointments online, and I'll show you through the process here. Okay guys, let's go ahead and go over to the USPS.com website, and I'll show you how to go ahead and make an appointment for a new passport application. So if you go to USPS.com, which is the Postal Service's website, click on their International tab, go down here and it says use your online scheduler to make a passport appointment. Go ahead and click on this one, and then it will take you over to the appointment scheduler system for the Postal Service. Step one is choosing the type of passport service that you need. So right now we're talking about applying for a new adult passport. So you can choose new passport for one adult, and you can search by location. And right here you can put in a location. In this case I'm going to put in Idaho Springs, Colorado. And you can set a radius here for how many miles you want to search from the location that you provided. You can also click this little checkbox here to say that you would like to see locations that have passport photos, which is a topic we'll discuss a little bit later. And then you just click the search button. And then once you've done this, then it's going to go ahead and show you the locations that are available around you. In this case, I'll go ahead and click on this Idaho Springs, Colorado location. And it tells you up here this location, tells you the address, tells you the appointments are available Monday through Friday from 9 until 2. It also provides you with information here that says that they take passport photos from 9 to 2 as well. So once you've sort of gathered that information, then it's a matter of just choosing the date that you would like to go. So if I click here, it shows you the calendar here. In this case, we're taking this during the middle of the summer. And you can pick an appointment date and select this date, and then it's going to show you the different times that are available. It sets aside 15 minutes for a new passport application. Obviously, if you have more than one person, that will adjust accordingly, but then you would just simply choose this, provide your contact information. And once this is done, then you get a confirmation. I'll go ahead and fill in some information here, you can say I understand the privacy and review my appointment and confirm the details. And then at this point we have our appointment status is confirmed, and we have this appointment set up under this for May 18th at 10:45 a.m. So anyway, so just you would print this out and then show up at your appointment 10 minutes early, and that'll get you going with step 2 with applying for a new passport. All right, so now that you've got your appointment made and also have the DS11 completed, the next step is to get into the supporting documentation to support your application for the passport. The first thing that we'll need to encounter is you need to prove that you are eligible to get a passport as a U.S. citizen. And you can provide that either through a birth certificate or through a naturalization certificate. So you'll need to take that to your appointment. Again, that's a certified birth certificate, which you can either obtain through a company called Vital Check, or if you happen to have it with you, with the naturalization certificate, that's just a matter of just providing that. So that's the first item that's a supporting document. So now that you have your birth certificate ready, we would highly recommend making a copy of this prior to handing it over to the Postal Service. But the second item that you'll need is proof of your ID, which is typically done through a driver's license. So you'll need to take a valid driver's license with you or another form of a government ID. Again, make a copy of that before your appointment. And they'll make a copy as well. But so in the case of the birth certificate, they actually take that as part of the application and then return it back to you. In the case of the driver's license, they just make a copy of it and include that with the application. So the third item that you're going to need as a supporting document for your passport application would be passport photos. So there are specific requirements associated with passport photos. We would recommend obtaining your passport photos ahead of time, even though some post offices do take photos there. A lot of times it's easier just to stop by a CVS or a Walgreens and get your photos done. Alternatively, we also have a sister company called Perfect Passport Photos that you can look up in the App Store and take a photo there and provide that. But anyway, the third item is passport photos. Make sure that you obtain 2 of those and bring those along to your appointment. So the fourth step in the process is actually going to your appointment itself. So make sure that you arrive at least 10 to 15 minutes prior to the appointment at the post office. Make sure to bring all of your documentation with you. And again, as a summary, that includes the DS-11 application that is not signed. Then also bring passport photos. Also bring your driver's license, and then also bring your proof of U.S. citizenship, either through a birth certificate or through a naturalization certificate. So arrive at the post office with plenty of time. You'll meet with a postal worker who will then go through the process with you. They are trained in reviewing the documentation, making sure everything's complete. They'll make copies of things, review your application. They'll witness you signing the DS-11 application itself. And then we'll take that information and then and put it into a sealed envelope. And then at that point, it's ready to be transported over to the passport agency for processing. So that's basically the process. Typically, it takes about 10 or 15 minutes or so to apply for a U.S. passport. So you'll be in and out pretty quickly. And it's a pretty easy process once you have all your documentation all lined up and ready to go. The next item that we're going to discuss is the costs associated with applying for a new passport. So applying for a new passport, there's a fee associated with it. So let's go ahead and cover some of these fees that are involved. So to apply for a brand new adult passport, the fee is to the U.S. Department of State for $110. If you would like to get it faster, they have an expedited fee that's available for $60 extra. You can also pay an extra $17.56 at this time of recording. That is an expedited shipping cost that's coming back to you. And then the final item that's required is your appointment at the post office. The post office themselves charges an execution fee of $35. These fees are all paid in different ways. So the fee for the $110, and if you choose to pay via an expedited service, the $60 fee, and also choose to pay the extra shipping fee of the $17.56, all of those items are all paid typically either through a check or a money order. The execution fee to the post office is paid, the $35 can be paid a couple of different ways, depends on the post office. So typically a check or money order, or sometimes a credit card, or sometimes cash. So be prepared to pay all these fees, that encompasses the cost structure associated with applying for the new passport. So let's discuss the speed of this process. So it varies. The passports are seasonal, and typically routine processing takes about 6 to 8 weeks, but certainly check on our website at passportsandvisas.com for current updates on this. Expedited processing typically takes 4 to 6 weeks, but again, check on this. And then also we, of course, are a private passport expediter, so we can guide you through this entire process for an additional fee and get it done at a quicker speed for you.